thank you very much for the little wait and sorry for the little delay. I think that we can start this webinar. So first, let me introduce myself. So my name is Carballo. I work at Aerospace Valley as EU project manager, and I am in charge of the coordination of the project SURE5.0. So the idea of today is to tell you a little bit more about the project, what we plan to do, and what will be the opportunities for you, depending on the type of organization that you are representing. Given that the project treats a particular topic, that is the topic of Industry 5.0, the idea of today is to give you the direct insights of the European Commission on what is Industry 5.0 and how it will changes things in the future. So with no further ado, I will start my presentation on SURE 5.0. So first of all, who are we? So SURE 5.0 is a consortium of European organizations, 11 partners from 8 countries. So Aerospace Valley as coordinator represented by myself, SEAGA in Spain, that is a Spanish cluster on automotive, Silicon Alps in Austria that works on electronics. We have Carballo in Greece that works on aerospace and electronics cluster as well. We have Anfia, that is an Italian cluster that works on automotive. We have one particular partner that is F6S, represented by in Ireland, that works on everything that will be related to the coils that we launch and that we will launch. I will tell you a little bit more about that a little bit later. We have one Fraunhofer Institute, so the IPT in Germany that works with us, as well as AMEN, that is a Spanish research institute on automotive and aerospace particularly. We have Taltech in Estonia, that is a partner that works with us on everything that is related to research and technology. We have Iniziativa in Italy, that is a consulting company that works with us with everything that is related to funding, especially. And we have the EIT manufacturing, so the CLC West, based in Spain, that allows us to expand our community to all across Europe. So a little bit of context before I go to the good part. So, so to which call are we answering? So SURE 5.0 is a European project. It's a Always on Europe European project, and we answer the Horizon CL4 2021 Resilience 0129 Innovate to Transform Support for SMEs Sustainable Transition. So we are funded by the European Commission, and our main goal is to support directly SMEs. So on our side, we decided to go towards the topic of Industry 5.0. So I will not go into details about what is Industry 5.0. Our speaker from the European Commission will do a full presentation for you. But basically, we focus on the development of advanced technologies for industry. We focus on the development of social innovation. We focus on the development of a more resilient, sustainable, and human-centered industry, targeting first at SMEs, so European SMEs, European Union plus associated countries. We focus on 3 European industrial ecosystems that are first aeronautics and defense, mobility, transport, and automotive, and electronics. Our main goal will be to support the SMEs in setting up what we call a 5.0 roadmap, and to be able to provide them funding for the implementation of this roadmap. Another goal that we have is to mobilize European players, so everyone that will be interested by Industry 5.0 around the common community that we aim to foster. So our project started a year ago in June 2022 and will be active up until May 2025. Regarding budget, given that we are talking about public budget, we have close than 5 million euros to work on this project. And among those 5 million, we are supposed to bring half, and in our case, we bring more than half. million to directly fund European SMEs. If you have questions, something that I did not mention, you can directly ask them directly on the chat, and we will read them afterwards so that we can centralize everything. Thank you. A small slide to resume a little bit the concept so that you can have a clear picture. So we start from the 3 European industrial ecosystems that we target, that are mobility, transportation, automotive, electronics, and aerospace and defense. And our objective is to go towards what we call Industry 5.0. So to go towards an industry that is more human-centered, that is more resilient, and that is more sustainable. And to do so, we will focus on 3 main axes that are the twin transition. We aim to accompany enterprises in order to succeed in their twin transition. So twin transition, digital plus green transition. We aim to provide SMEs some insight and support regarding what we call advanced technologies for industries. We aim to provide them the keys to adopt them directly in their organization and to have a, let's say, a sustainable way to use it, not one shot, but to have those industry integrated in their organization. And then next to that, we have social innovation. Social innovation, why? Because it's one of the axes of Industry 5.0, and we think that social innovation is a quite important axis, at least for the future of industry. So how to get involved in SURE 5.0? So you have 3 ways to get involved. First, if you are an SME and you have the need to receive support to adopt those new technologies and processes from Industry 5.0, you can go to this route, to this first route. So 4 steps. First, we already launched what we call a self-assessment tool. So you can already go on the SURE 5.0 website and find the self-assessment tool. You can fill it in and receive first recommendation. The objective of this self-assessment is to provide you, well, first, more information about what is Industry 5.0 and how it's compatible with what you do. And then this, what we call a simple questionnaire, but will provide you first recommendations on what to develop into your company in order to start to implement this Industry 5.0 package that the European Commission prepared for us. So this self-assessment is open to all SMEs from the 3 industrial ecosystems that I mentioned, so aerospace and defense, mobility, transport and automotive, and electronics. So this self-assessment was launched in December of last year, and it's open for you all to fill in and get some first recommendation about Industry 5.0. Then the second step, we have a call for services. The idea of this call for services is to go a little bit further than the self-assessment if you are interested by Industry 5.0. Actually, at the end of last year, we launched a call, and the idea is that we are selecting a first batch of SMEs that are interested about Industry 5.0 for them to receive what we call Industry 5.0 roadmap on what concretely the enterprises will be able to implement in order to embrace this concept of Industry 5.0. So the idea is that this call for services, there will be laureates because the last one closed actually last month. There will be laureates that will receive individual services from the consortium of SURE 5.0 in order to develop a little bit more the recommendation that they can have and their understanding on what they can implement right now sorry, in order to embrace this Industry 5.0. So this call for services is open to all SMEs having completed the self-assessment, so following the eligibility of the self-assessment. As I said, we already opened and closed the first call, but there will be a second call that will be open in October of this year. So I strongly suggest that if you are in this case, if you are an SME that is looking for support in Industry 5.0, you will be interested by that, and yes, you should definitely apply to our call. The third step is actually quite linked to the last one. So to the first batch, what we are doing right now of SMEs that we selected, as I said, we will provide them the roadmap. And at the end of the roadmap, we'll offer to SMEs the possibility to get real money, 50K euros per SME, to start implementing the Industry 5.0 recommendation that we'll have done in the self-assessment and in the call for services. Here, the SMEs that will have been selected in the call for services will be eligible. And as I said, the objective is to provide them with the amount of 50,000 euros for them to start implementing the recommendations. So what will happen in the implementation of recommendations? So this is the fourth step, transformation. So SMEs that will have successfully passed the call for services and the call for projects will receive a 6-month accompaniment with the amount of 50K that will be provided to them. Amount of 50K that will be provided to them as a lump sum. So it's not, we will not expect for detailed financial statement. What we want is results. So we will give you the 50K euros for you to implement results, to implement the recommendation that we will have provided to you. And in addition to those 50K, you will receive during this 6 months an individual support, even more, going even further from the SURE 5.0 consortium. So on this side, well, we'll receive the accompaniment, the SMEs that receive the 50K euros. Next to that, but sorry, I will not enter into details about this. Other ways to participate if you are in this case. So first, we launch a program of SURE 5.0 webinars. So this is the first one. There will be more in the next 2 years of the project on particular thematics. So for this first one, we decided to do an overview of Industry 5.0. But for the next one, there will be some particular thematics, and you will actually be able to propose some particular subjects next to this webinar for us to understand better what are your needs. And next to that, we have what we call a Community of Practice Alliance. It's actually a LinkedIn group quite active in which we want to foster all the Industry 5.0 players that are interested by this topic, and to we'll push a little bit more on the exchange of good practices and peer learning. But on this part, my colleague Michael will provide you a full presentation just afterwards. So on this side, the webinars and the Community of Practice Alliance, it's open to all SMEs or not. Okay, so the next two ways to join us. You're not an SME on the manufacturing sector on the 3 ecosystems that are aerospace, mobility, transport, and automotive and electronics, but you are a service provider that provide technology that will support enterprises in going towards Industry 5.0. So what we decided to do is that we will open a catalog of service providers. The idea is that this catalog will be launched around April, and will select all types of suppliers with services treat the advanced technologies for industry that we target, the social innovation, and the sustainability and human centricity that are part of our priorities in SURE 5.0. And what will be an interesting part for you, if you are in this case, if you are a service provider, is that you will be matched with the enterprises that will receive the 50K euros to well, be able to be the service provider that will ensure to these companies an Industry 5.0 transformation. Next to that, if you are not an SME on the manufacturing sector, if you are not a service provider, but just a 5.0 enthusiast, as I said, you are free to join what we call a Community of Practice Alliance that is already open. So we already started to communicate about it. You can find us on LinkedIn, SURE 5.0 Community of Practice Alliance. As I said, Michael, my colleague, will tell you a little bit more about that. it's already open, and everyone is welcome to participate and to well, launch collaborations, launch peer learning, launch new, let's say, partnerships with the other members of the Community of Practice Alliance. One last thing is that one important thing is that, okay, we do some targeted communication about SURE 5.0, Open Call, or Community of Practice Alliance. But if you want to be, let's say, aware of what happens in our project, what are the next news, when the new call will be launched, who are the enterprises that will be selected in the frame of our calls, you can join us directly online. So a few ways to do that. Directly on our website, we provide all news related to the project. You can subscribe to our newsletter on the website as well to get all the information. So I promise we try to send a newsletter in not so often, but just to let you have all the information when you need them. You can send an email to info@sureproject.eu if you want to have some more details about the project. And of course, you can follow us on social media. So talking about the SURE project LinkedIn page, talking about the SURE project Twitter page, and talking also about the YouTube channel that we have, in which we already posted 3 videos that will inform you about what is the project, how to apply to our course, and give you some, let's say, technical support in being able to know if you are or not able to apply. So that's it for me for this first presentation. I think that we have questions. Okay, just one question that was sent that was sent right now. I can answer it right now, but I will do most of the question at the end. You will have the presentation. You will have the full presentation afterwards, so do not worry if you did not have time to take screenshots or photos. We sent you everything.
Start. So thank you very much for inviting me to speak today, and I'm very happy to share some of the work that we've been doing and the way we believe Industry 5.0 can support the EU's vision towards the green and digital transition. For the next slide, please. So today, what I'm going to talk about is our assumptions, what we are working with, and how we see the digitalization of industry in the context of the green transformation, but also the societal adaptation to digitalization, and what we think can be key pillars and needs of how the industry could take advantage of digitalization and also contribute further to the societal challenges and the sustainability challenges that we have. And of course, I'm very happy to share further opportunities of engagement as well, and to have here SMEs and stakeholders that can make this vision actually a reality. So for the next slide, please. Very briefly, the Industry 5.0 is a concept that is more of an invitation to imagine the future, to imagine a wiser future, and we have at our hand basically different kinds of intelligences, right? We have natural intelligence, we as well human intelligence, and technological, let's say, support, and artificial intelligence, all sorts of other types of technologies that all together should help us bring industry into the future. Can we go to the next slide, please? And what this invitation is also about is that Industry 5.0 aims to bring all the industry actors closer to the societal and environmental context and ecosystems, and integrate them further, basically. The vision of the Industry 5.0 and the future of industry is related to how we are all interconnected, and acknowledging this, and creating ways in which we can all coexist in a more constructive way. If we move to the next slide, one of the key assumptions is that technology is not, well, it's not good or bad, it's also not neutral. So through technology, we are actualizing and we are creating realities that are based on specific paradigms and streams of thoughts, and it's a very human activity. So basically, with Industry 5.0, we are acknowledging this. We believe this should be stronger emphasized in how industry adopts technology as well, and of course, how we develop technology. And there are different ways in which we can create frameworks and principles through which technology helps even more and contributes to the challenges that we have as a society and for the planet as well. So for the next slide, please. Just briefly, again, another background, let's say, presentation of the assumptions we have is that, of course, we've been talking about all sorts of industrial revolutions. It's all about these technological changes that we've been seeing since the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, and even before that, right? So there are different streams of thought. I'm not. We can speak a lot about that. For instance, there's a scholar Carlota Perez, who's been proposing actually that there have been five waves of technological change within this whole industrial revolution, right? And all these technological change periods, I mean, they're all sort of in a sort of snowball effect, right? They have snowball effects. And what they do is, in fact, that once there's a large adoption of specific technologies, these technologies also tend to have wide interactions with society and wide interaction across the industry as well. And now we see a lot also this interaction with the environmental pressures, right? So all of this, I mean, technologies are not operating in a vacuum. Industry is not in, of course, in a vacuum. So the idea is that we are acknowledging that industries and technology are operating in a wider societal context, and we need to have a wiser approach to how these interactions are, created and what they are, what the effects are of these interactions. If we go to the next slide. Well, this is again more details. Actually, maybe we go to the second slide. Basically, these are other kinds of theories on which kinds of industrial revolutions we've been having and we've been going through. The bottom line is that this one is a very big technological change that we're going through, and the effects of it are also, of course, not certain. And we are, of course, very happy and grateful that we can advance, economically through them. Although we do see also polarization effects, we see all sorts of inequalities arising, and winner takes all types of processes that happen due to this latest technological change wave, digitalization. So seeing this in this wider perspective, as a policy initiative, Industry 5.0 aims to bring this broader, conversation into the wider, societal change framework as well. So to invite stakeholders and industry to reflect on the actual development and adoption of technologies, the effects, and how we can streamline them and direct them towards the real challenges that we have, economic, societal, and digital, and also environmental. And so for the next slide, please. Again, as I said, Industry 5.0 has been started already since 2019 as a process, and has been framed as part of the Green Deal. The European Green Deal is a big policy agenda that is as a chapeau for the Industry 5.0, but of course the digital decade as well, and all the other EU Commission priorities, as well as the societal adaptation agenda. So these are big frames within which Industry 5.0 is acting. If we go to the next one. So, but as a general definition that has been proposed is to the fact that Industry 5.0, as mentioned, recognizes the power of industry to achieve societal goals. So to define itself as purpose-driven, to become a resilient provider of prosperity, of course, but also by making production respect the boundaries of our planet, placing the well-being of the industry worker at the center of the production process. For the next slide, please. Next slide, please.
Yes, sorry, we have a technical issue. Of course, it happens every time it happens is during our webinar, so we will try to put you the next slide. Okay.
Yes, so I mean, this is already something that I've mentioned, in fact, that of course, Industry 5.0 has at the basis these enabling technologies. These are core, and their promotion is also a key to future development. The concept of Industry 5.0 still creates these opportunities to use technologies within these three wide goals: the resilience goal related to economy, scalability, profitability as well, but also the sustainability framework, ecology, ecological concerns are key, and the societal framework as well, so human centricity. All these three large scoping principles are the pillars of the approach of Industry 5.0. If we go to the next slide, please. So again, this approach is not a revolution. It's more an initiative. It's a means to really focus efforts, digitalization efforts of industry as well, towards human-centric, resilient, and sustainable results. So we really believe that with all the technologies that we have and all the challenges that we have, the focus towards specific goals that are completely rational at this point, given all the effects that we've seen, can provide even a bigger boost to achieve those the results that we want, and to tackle the challenges that we have. So next slide, please. And so there's been lots of questions as well. So why this approach? Not only from a theoretical perspective, right, but practically speaking, what does it bring? So in practice, it's not only about just the large companies developing, having a CSR department and creating nice CSR campaigns, but it's really about also the actual workers and how they are affected by technological changes, and how adopting technology, how this is done in companies together with workers, and for instance, for the purpose of improving the safety and well-being of workers, attracting employees more, and creating or keeping the frame that the human contribution and human work is valuable. Within the context of having so much automation and having machines take over a lot of different kinds of work. Right now, a lot of opportunities are out there, but really this is an invitation to understand, okay, so what is most meaningful also within each company and for the workers in the company to contribute with? What type of work is most meaningful actually to outsource or not to machines? and how could the employees or the workers or the companies, the startup themselves also, how could they evolve in providing training for the employees and keeping pace with all these changes. And at the same time, of course, if we look at the past years, there is the resilience pillar and the sustainability pillar. These are already probably much more talked about and increasingly incorporated also by other policies in how resource efficiency definitely has an economic advantage as well, keeping advantage in more competitive markets. Or developing new competitive edge in new markets with these kinds of new frames of how technologies are developed and incorporated. These are key aspects in which Industry 5.0 could bring results. For the next slide, please. And so there's been already several projects that have been funded also by Horizon Europe, because again, it's a research and innovation initiative, and this is a way to pave the way towards mainstreaming these kinds of new approaches. And so there can be lots of other examples that you can draw from and to understand more the different pillars of Industry 5.0. For instance, the project Beyond 4.0 has been examining the future impact of new technologies on jobs. So this is a more macro level view, and it's actually finishing soon. And there can be results in terms of how innovation ecosystems can be shaped to be more inclusive, and also how social innovation that Diego was also can be incorporated, and what is the value of that also for industry. So there are results coming from the project as well. Then there are also more technological approaches, like from the human manufacturing project, demonstrating ways that factory workers and automation can operate in harmony. So much more going towards this human-machine interaction and having the human in control, the worker themselves in control of the machine, and decision making still being kept more at the human level. Then, of course, also for the sustainability pillar, there are other projects that can be drawn, but of course, perhaps, I don't know if this is already common knowledge or not, but digital technologies have been and proven to be key in also driving circularity, sustainability approaches. So these are examples of projects that you could also draw on and to more concretely define how Industry 5.0 looks in practice. If we go to the next page. And just to mention a few of our initiatives that we have right now to drive forward the Industry 5.0 from the awareness raising phase to scaling up. So as I mentioned, there were those Horizon Europe projects, or Horizon 2020 also, but also other EU programs are incorporating these kinds of approaches, and there you can find examples in Digital Europe program or in Erasmus+. Then at the European Commission level, we are also developing a community of practice idea in which we are aiming to convene a large array of stakeholders to share good practices, of course, from different kinds of approaches, and to co-design future actions, actually, take this forward. Because this actually needs to, it's a living concept already, Industry 5.0, and these kinds of approaches are very interesting to be shared across Europe. And of course, this will provide the opportunities for new partnerships and collaboration. For the next slide, please. And one other point we are working on is to develop a monitoring framework related to Industry 5.0 and a canvas to visualize at company level what sort of areas could be improved to drive more towards human centricity. What does it mean for a company to have workers be more in control of technology? an option, or what does it mean to be more resilient? These are kinds of questions that we are working on to define in a clearer perspective for companies as well, through that canvas that will be developed throughout the course of this year. And the next slide, please. And of course, Horizon Europe Work Program has launched several calls for more research and innovation actions. And so I've listed them here. Some of them actually had quite recent deadline, actually. So I'm not sure, perhaps the localized urban manufacturing one is still, yeah, a bit further down the road to be applied for, but I think these are also important sources for understanding further how Industry 5.0 is implemented in practice. And I think that's it from my side. If there's any, well, is there any other slide? The next one, please. Last one, probably. Indeed, that there will be a lot of events where you can engage with us, especially, for instance, the RNI days. I think they will take place at the end of October this year. Well, there will be industry days and all sorts of other project events. For instance, like in the SURE 5.0 project, there will be, of course, lots of opportunities to get engaged and find out more. So, but we are really happy to receive more feedback and inputs and engage with you and with all the companies present today, and to also follow up on the results of the SURE 5.0 projects and see what the testing and piloting of these approach brings to the companies involved, and how the companies take further the Industry 5.0 approach. So thank you very much for the opportunity to share our vision with you. And I'll be waiting for questions.
Yes, thank you very much, Flora, for this quite complete presentation on Industry 5.0. So it's quite good to know what is behind this word, what the European Commission has in mind when they say Industry 5.0. So thank you for taking the time to present it to us. For the questions, if you have questions to wrap, type them on the chat and we will read them afterwards, because we have just one last speaker, that is my colleague from Silicon Alps, Michael. So Michael, I will give you the control of the screen so that you are able to show your presentation.
So now it should work, I guess. Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Floor is yours.
Okay. Hello, everybody. I will give you a short overview about our community of Practice Alliance, which Diego already mentioned at the starting of the webinar. My name is Michael Zwatschko. I'm working for the Silicon Alps cluster in Austria, and we are part of the SURE consortium. So we launched at the beginning of March our community of Practice Alliance, which is part of the SURE 5.0 project. The community of Practice Alliance is an open place for SMEs, industrial groups, bigger companies, and relevant stakeholders to foster exchange and experience within Industry 5.0 practices. So the intention and the idea was to create an online space on LinkedIn. It's a LinkedIn group which we already established, and this is an open place for all parties or partners are interested to learn more about Industry 5.0 issues. And yes, so who should join the community? If you are an SME interested in learning more about the possible transition towards Industry 5.0, you are open to join the community. Technological providers, as well as national EU business support networks, centers or initiatives around Industry 5.0, or other relevant stakeholders around Industry 5.0 policy and so on. So it's an open place for everybody. You're invited to join the community. And what are the opportunities within the community, why we are doing this? So you within the community, you will have the chance to connect directly with involved SMEs, as well as technological providers, service providers, as Diego mentioned at the beginning, as well as EU business support networks, other stakeholders, and so yes, this should be an open place to meet small and medium enterprises, big companies, industrial groups through networking activities. A large part of the activities will be done within the LinkedIn group online to post relevant content and to share good practices and ideas and learnings around Industry 5.0. But the part of the networking activities will be also organized by the clusters involved in the consortium. So each cluster will organize around his ecosystem certain networking activities where you can directly get in contact with SMEs, with other stakeholders, with technological providers, in a kind of networking activities or workshops and so on. And this will be organized in the upcoming months and in the upcoming years till the end of the project. And a part will be done in the LinkedIn group. So yeah, the goal is, as mentioned here on the slide, to make networking, share good practices between SMEs and to show success stories in Industry 5.0 transformation. Yes, you are invited to join our community. As already mentioned, the group is aimed for SMEs, technological providers, as well as support networks and other stakeholders interested in the 5.0 topic. So you are invited to become a member of our LinkedIn community. Just go on LinkedIn and type in the name of our SURE 5.0 Community of Practice Alliance and make a request to join the group. And we are happy to accept you and look forward to your inputs in the LinkedIn group and to the discussions around certain topics we will work on in the next months. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Michael, for your presentation. So if I may add something, so this community and how we imagined it is that we want to provide you access quite easily to information about Industry 5.0 and to allow you to express yourself, really. So for us, the best way to do that was a LinkedIn group. Everyone normally has LinkedIn. So what you just have to do is to join this community. You can see what we already share. We already begin to share some information. The idea is that for the next few months, for us to grow more and more this community and to allow you to share the content, and that at the end of the project that we have, let's say, a fruitful and living community around Industry 5.0 and all its different aspects that were presented by Laura just before. So thank you very much, Michael, for this presentation. Now, because I see that time is flying, so we will go to the questions. So I'm sorry, but unfortunately, we will not be able to go to each question because we had a lot. But we made a selection to, let's say, the most impactful questions that we'll be able to answer. So I have a first question that was, oh, sorry, Michael, you need to stop sharing your screen. Okay, just let me get the floor from you. Okay, perfect. So first question that we had, so is the portal for us as a service provider? So question from a service provider, is this portal online and when will it be available? So this portal, we are still working on it. The idea is that the enterprises that have been selected in SURE 5.0 are still being selected right now, at least for the first round. And well, we had in mind to launch this portal in the next few months. So be sure that we will notice you all when this portal will be launched for service providers, so that you can register and have access to the list of enterprises that will receive money to provide you money. We have a second question. So why is, I think it's in front of SURE 5.0, why is the 50K not used to prevent waste to happen? So yes, tricky question. So as you understood, in the frame of SURE 5.0, our objective is to finance directly enterprises. This is our entry point, enterprises, SMEs. And in the frame of the funding, in the frame of the 50K, waste reduction can be an axis of funding. For example, if the enterprise is tell us, okay, I want to optimize my production, I want to reduce my waste. As you have seen in the presentation of Laura, this is something that enter into the scope of SURE 5.0. So we will be gladly, to finance such initiative to reduce waste. That is one of the objectives of the European Union Industry 5.0. We have a third question. Okay, so yes, it's about the call. Maybe I need to be a little more precise about that. So question is, has the call already closed on March 1st, or has the deadline been extended? So yes, I can provide you some more information about that. So as I said, we already launched the call that was open between December and beginning of March. So this call is closed. We are actually selecting the enterprises that answer to this call. And now the next step for us will be to launch a new call, a new chance for you to apply. So nothing is lost for you. It will not be a deadline extension, but it will be a second call that will be launched in October of 2023. So you still have your chance to participate to SURE 5.0 and to receive the 50K euros to implement your transformation. We have an additional question. I think it's for Laura. So sorry, Laura, normally you should be able to open your microphone to answer it. Did the already funded projects, I figure that you mentioned in your presentation, did those projects deliver results on the development of a wasteless world? So big topic. Yes, I see that your microphone is cut.
Okay, so okay. I can now. So the question was related. Okay, the question was related to the projects that we financed with Horizon Europe, if they have contributed to a wasteless future.
Yes, yes. From what I understood from the question, did those projects contribute to the reduction of waste, or is something that you maybe on future project that could be done? At least on SURE 5.0 we will do it, but maybe on the next one or the one that already worked.
Yeah, I mean the waste reduction, of course, is one key aspect of sustainability. And I mean, in general, Horizon Europe and previous framework program Horizon 2020 have been financing a lot of projects related to, you know, developing technologies and application of technology, you know, how waste can be reduced. But it's a very broad question. Yeah. So I think the answer is yes. There's been a lot of projects that have been funded related to that. I cannot in particular name now one. Yeah. But even now there are specific other projects that are funded. I can give examples if you'd like me to, like hubs for circularity, and with the new you know, Net Zero Industrial Act and the new policy impetus for this, there will be even more funding for this, I'm sure. And within Industry 5.0, of course, this is another point that it's covered. Yeah. It can be part of the projects that are funded, of course, out of this SURE 5.0 project. Yeah.
Okay, great. So I think that we are all in favor of a wasteless world in the future, and well, it's good to know that at least the initiative and even the concept of Industry 5.0 takes this into account in the development of this industry for the future. At least on the side of Aerospace Valley, of SURE 5.0, sorry, it's something that it will be an axis of work for the enterprises that we will fund.
Yes, for sure.
Okay.
I mean, the idea is to use digital technologies as well and to see how they can be used, especially in this context, because there's a lot of potential for digital technologies to support an acceleration of achieving that wasteless future.
Perfect. So I see that our time is up. Sorry for taking those 3 additional minutes from you, Laura, and all the other participants. So before I end the webinar, Laura, maybe do you have the last few words to say to everyone before we close everything?
No, I would like to thank everybody for participating indeed, and I'm really curious to see how the project will evolve and you know, how all the different pillars of Industry 5.0 will be you know, concretely implemented with the project, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the results of the project, of the SURE5.0 project, and congratulate you for starting it.
Thank you very much, Laura. So I see that we have a last minute question that my colleagues are actually taking notes of. So I will just take the time to read it. Sorry again to take you a little bit more time for you, but I think this question is quite important. Maybe Laura, you can ask it directly. So yes.
Okay. How can university benefit from your skills to educate future industry workers? Do you plan to develop some educational tools?
Is that a question for the European Commission, or maybe within the project, you mean?
I think it's for everyone. So maybe Laura, if you have some insight about it.
Well, I think indeed education is really important, you know, intervention way, so that we can actually equip the workers and the new, also even the new generation, with the skills that are needed, because as technologies are getting more and more complex, we also need to upgrade our abilities to deal with them. As part of Industry 5.0, we are also working with the DG Education and Culture, and there's different initiatives that are being rolled out at the same time. For instance, also the European Institute of Technology, the IT Manufacturing, Knowledge and Innovation Community, they have different programs that are dealing also with Industry 5.0. So actually, there's a lot of opportunities that are going to be rolled out. There's, for instance, this year, there's the Deep Tech Talent Initiative, which will invest in upgrading at least 1 million talents, let's say, people, upgrade the skills of 1 million people. So I think it's more about being able to cope with so many initiatives that the Commission has, I have to acknowledge. And we, of course, if there are suggestions on how universities can contribute more, we are also open to suggest these types of suggestions and discussing how this can be even more scaled up. Because definitely this is key. Yeah.
Okay, if I may complete, at least on the frame of SURE 5.0, so as you understood, we are targeting first enterprises, SMEs. Of course, we will provide as well support to Industry 5.0, but it's true that we may have a gap for the universities, for the academics, and this is why we plan to propose to you this Community of Practice Alliance. So this is where you will find all decentralized information about how this Industry 5.0, in particular in the frame of skills, can help you. And this can even be a topic of discussion for one of the next webinars. So I strongly invite you, as Laura said, to some bottom-up processes and inform us about what are your needs and who are the people that you need to hear, at least in the frame of the SURE 5.0 webinars. Okay, so I think that we can end the webinar right now because I see that we already has the time. So Laura, everyone, thank you very much for your participation. Thank you very much for having followed this webinar. So as I said, it will not be the last webinar of SURE 5.0. This is only the first one. So stay tuned for more information about SURE 5.0. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.